Jeremy Goes Missing, Part 2 of the pod.
They cut the hard line. There's no time. You're going to have to get to another exit.
He's got a keys around here.
No time for love, Dr. Jones.
No time for podcast.
No, I can't be bothered with that. I have no time for that sort of nonsense.
Recorded September 11th, 2020.
He had a good run, though, buddy. Good job, little guy.
He took the dogs out.
That was his chance. Do 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 do. Well, let's talk about Jeremy while he's not here.
Yeah, I'm down.
You done with him?
No, down. I'm down.
Oh, you're down to talk about him?
Yep.
I mean, what can you say about Jeremy?
That hasn't already been said.
Yeah, he's a different cat. Goes to the beat of his own drum. Although I'm not sure I've ever met somebody that's more perfectly fit to live where they do than Jeremy in Northfield.
Which
Just
is
like
weird because he was always the urban city guy, like the kind of guy who would never live in the suburbs, and now he's so far out. I guess Northfield it's a city of its own. It's not a suburb or a whatever, but I don't know.
He's just it fits that he lives like in a little hipster college town.
I do recall one baseball trip, sitting in the parking lot outside of Milwaukee Stadium, Jeremy and Todd Myers and maybe somebody else going on and on and on about the shitty people who would live in a place like Rogers, Minnesota, and I'm like one town past Rogers. Maybe they knew that, maybe they didn't. Maybe they knew I could hear them. Maybe it's like, hey guys, suburban dweller right here. Thank you.
Passive aggressive attack.
Yeah, that was nice.
So
the people in Rogers do suck, by the way.
Do they? Well, are you guys going to move ever?
I don't think so. After the kids are done with school, maybe. I think
your wife is still working up there, right? So
she's still in Big Lake. Yep.
And just makes you drive.
We don't want to move further that way. That's for sure.
No. Because what's your commute already?
Well, my commute now is nothing since March and nothing until probably next March, and then probably no more than 2 days a week after that. So that's really not a concern.
Okay, but before then, just to be clear, the last 19 years.
Oh yeah, it's like almost 50 miles one way. So 100 miles a day, usually at least 4 days a week.
Yeah, that's awful.
Yeah, whatever.
20,000 plus miles a year on your vehicle.
Yeah, my car right now though, I think I've gone 6,000, 7,000 miles this year. It's amazing. I'm like extending the life of my car. It's great.
How about you, Steve? Obviously, you work in grocery stores. So are you still? You are probably pretty close to the house though, so you're not going too far, or do you have to go out to like west suburbs or?
No, I stay pretty close to home. I don't have to drive more than maybe 30 miles in a given day. And my new car I got in early February, I haven't even had to have an oil change yet, so maybe 5,000 miles on it. So not too bad.
What'd you get?
What?
What'd you get?
It's a Chevy Malibu. It's a company car, so I don't have to pay for it.
So
Nice.
If we do another guy's trip, you're driving? That's what I hear.
Free gas, yeah. I mean, if you can stand sitting in a Chevy Malibu for a few hours, but yeah.
How would it handle my physique, my bulk?
It's got trunk space.
You can
I just noticed the RC Cola thermometer behind you.
Yeah,
That's
pretty classy.
Old
I think it was
school,
$10.
Do you have a pool table still in there? I just see the pool cues.
Combination pool and ping pong. It's been a ping pong table all summer long, but it's been commandeered. But, it's the white trash den out in the garage here.
I wouldn't expect anything less. So with all the baseball trips, do you guys have like a favorite one that I know over the years we've been to Kansas City and Milwaukee multiple times, Cleveland, Denver, Seattle, Toronto, all the different trips that we've taken. I can't remember which ones you guys were on, but I know you were on a lot of them.
I would personally say Cleveland was my favorite, except for the hotel that was 30 miles away from the downtown area. But I can say that because I kind of curse those other trips. I've brought bad luck to a lot of those baseball trips, but the Cleveland one mostly went out without a hitch. So I'll say that one. Cleveland, I would
just
go back
because it's the most stress-free for you personally.
Yes.
That hotel was airport adjacent, though.
Well, the airport was 30 miles out of town. Yeah.
Didn't we had a car though? Because we drove to Canton the one day anyway. We had a car. We drove to Canton.
Yeah, but after that, it was just taxis from the airport to downtown.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. No, Cleveland was a good one. I've always had fun in the trips outside of a few individual moments that maybe weren't the best. Mm-hmm. But how about you, Steve? What was your?
I think Denver was the most entertaining, regardless of what happened there. I think it was
regardless of the drama.
I wouldn't mind going back to Denver to give it another shot. It was okay, but yeah, that was a rough weekend.
Where we stayed was nice. Like that whole area by the baseball stadium was really cool.
Yeah, the whole downtown area was nice, but yeah.
Visiting the dispensary was interesting because I was right after it was legalized. So it was kind of interesting just to go into those places. Not that I partook.
I think I probably got the most out of that because I think Todd was not happy with his purchase. and the way they had it set up, I understand, because it make it look like they have one of everything, like only one of everything. And I got the one thing he wanted, so he thought he had to buy something else when they really had like a room full of it in the back. He could have got the same thing.
Didn't he get like nuts or something?
Yeah, it was like spicy nuts or something weird like that.
What'd you get? Gummies or something?
No, it was just a brownie.
Classic.
Yeah, it was great. It's the size of a Snickers, and they say this is 10 servings. I'm like, okay, so 3 servings? No, it's 10 servings. Okay, so like 2?
Like a full Snickers or like the mini
so
Snickers you get on Halloween?
If I just eat this whole thing right now while I'm staring at you, what will the reaction be? We'll ask you to leave, sir. Okay.
That's
how many years did we do Milwaukee and Kansas City before we started venturing out?
I bet we did Milwaukee the first 4 years, 3-4 years.
Seems about right. I think I made 2 of the 4 probably.
And then Kansas City, I think we've done 3 years. I don't know if they're consecutive, but I think it was.
But it was
3 years.
1 year. It wasn't the Twins. It was like Kansas City versus Arizona or something stupid like that.
Yeah, because we just didn't make it. Couldn't make it work for a Twins series. Yep. But yeah, I always like Kansas City was always nice too. Seattle was maybe my most fun time. I think when we were out there, I had a blast in Seattle.
What did you like about Seattle?
The area where I was cool, right there by the on the waterfront.
Mm-hmm.
I just had a really good time, like going out the first night we were there, and the stadium was cool. I don't know, I liked it. There's a lot of homeless people, which it's not their fault. Well, maybe it is for some of them, I don't know. But so right where we were, just being on the waterfront, there was just a lot of homeless people. So that was just not seeing that. I live in a suburb here, so I don't see that a lot. So that was like just kind of threw me off. Seeing them, like you go out for breakfast in the morning, they're just sitting in the doorways of different buildings. That was a hard adjustment or a hard thing to get used to seeing. That park we were by, I mean, there could really be, I don't know how many people sleeping there overnight, 20, 30 people, something like that. At least during the day, there'd be a good 30 people.
Did you go to that tour that went like under the streets there?
Oh, yeah, we did that. I did that.
I was there. I remember that. That was...
With that many homeless people in view, how did you choose which one to piss on every morning?
Why would you say that?
I'm sorry. I mean, you just picked the one who looked the most destitute?
You're awful. Oh, why am I laughing?
Leave that in.
Cut that, please.
On it.
When Jeremy comes back on, I have to repeat that line, so we have to start over.
Let's be very clear. He's not coming back tonight.
He's the co-host. He has to come back.
We've seen what we're going to see of that guy.
I sent him an email and I sent him a text with the links in it, and I've got no response so far.
No, he's sleeping. I think Steve nailed it there.
He has, a wise man once said, is treats.
So can I talk about the time he almost died while he's not here?
Which time?
This would be on my 21st birthday when I watched him tumble down the stairs of Stubborn.
Oh, yeah, perfect. Yeah, let's do this.
So do I have to start at the beginning of the evening?
Yeah, sure. Let's do a little setup there.
Okay, so first, obviously it was both of our 21st birthday, me and Steve. You were dating Amy at the time, so I assume you were doing something much more fun that evening.
Actually, it was during finals, and I had a final that evening and again the next morning.
You had finals in June?
Yeah.
Your school always got out in early May, I thought.
No, we
always ran late.
Oh, that was I got out in May. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so screw you. So, so 21st birthday, I remember I met you guys at your place on 8th Street. Jeremy made the poor decision to try to match me drink for the evening, which, and I'm such a lightweight, he probably thought it would be no problem at all. We started at Sally's, and I remember that's when I met Dave Lofgren for the first time, and he insisted I have a dead Nazi, which I could still taste years later every time I thought about it. That's Jägermeister and Rumplemans.
Yeah, not
just
great. The
worst drink ever. So the smart thing to do would have been to drink that and to say, okay, I really have to pace myself tonight, but I didn't do that. So then we went over to the Big Ten, and I think it was like $1 pitchers or some ridiculous cheap amount of pitchers that evening. So we got a bunch of pitchers of beer. And I remember at one point, Pete, you said, when the waitress comes back, we're going to ask for the check. Waitress came back. before you could say anything, Jeremy said, 2 more pitchers. So she brought 2 more pitchers of beer. And then it was decided, okay, Jeremy and I had to drink these 2 pitchers. So we drank them both as fast as we could. We walked across the street to Stub and Herbs. Right when you walked in the door, you take a right to go down the stairs, and that's where the bathrooms are. So Jeremy's in front of me. We both turn right to go down the stairs. And I just see in slow motion him tumbling down the stairs. I am first worried, and like I hurry down the stairs, like, oh, are you okay? Are you okay? By the time I get to the bottom of the stairs, there's 2 other people, very well dressed, very respectable, trying to help him. I step over him and say, he's fine. And I go into the
He does
bathroom.
this all the time.
He may have been unconscious at that point. I'm not sure what his deal was. I stepped over him, walked into the bathroom, and proceeded to throw up for like the next half hour. Then I went back upstairs to the table. You guys are all sitting there. There's a glass of water waiting for me. I'm like, okay, I'll just drink this water and I'll be fine. And so you guys are saying, no, you have to leave. So no, I'll be okay. I just need some water. And then it was explained, no, the people who own this place have said you need to leave. So then I think it was one of your guys' friends met us there, and she drove Jeremy and I back to your place. And the part that really bothered me was when we walked out of the bar, it was still sunny out. We had gotten that wasted before sunset. And then so I went back to your place on 8th Street, and I threw up for another half hour, and that was that.
Yeah, well, you're welcome.
And then 10 years later, I learned that same night, old man ended up sleeping in the bushes outside of Stub and Herbs, apparently.
No, that was on the West Bank somewhere.
Okay.
Undisclosed building location, but yeah.
There's a library over there.
Yeah. There's a nice set of bushes over there.
Yeah, he just kind of nestled in like a bear hibernating.
No, I got all the way over there and realized I should not drive home because I think I left my car over by Grandma's somewhere at one point, and I just decided to take a nap and then drive to work the next morning, I think. So pretty great.
Just as is too, just going in raw.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. Wood chips all over
like
whatever I was wearing.
You smell like pine and alcohol and wood chips.
Yeah. And then around lunchtime, I went back to wherever I was living at the time and switched clothes and came back in a totally different set of clothes. So that was classy.
Yeah.
No one would notice.
Yeah, that was. I still remember too that night. They made us at that place. They made at least Jeremy sign a waiver that he wouldn't sue them for his fall. And I always thought it was kind of funny that they thought that would maybe hold up in court, trying to force an intoxicated guy to sign a waiver. Like that would somehow maybe be enforceable.
And I've never talked to him about how hurt he really was the next day. Because in my memory, I literally see him head over heels tumbling down this long flight of stairs. And I honestly don't know how he lived through that. People have died from that. So I don't know if he had a bruise, if he was even sore the next day, or if he was fine.
I think being drunk, you just you're more limp. And so you don't resist, right? Like you don't tense your body up. Like they say in a car crash, a lot of times kids do better because they don't tense themselves up like adults who are paying attention.
Either that or he's unbreakable.
He could be. He might have been,
he's Bruce
the motivation behind Unbreakable.
Yeah. How many stairs do you think that was?
Oh gosh, 20.
It was long.
It's a long flight, and they're pretty steep. I'm just trying to remember. My memory's a little hazy from that era.
Average flight of stairs in a house is what, like 14, 13? And it was
probably at least that much, yeah.
Oh, at least, yeah, because it was bigger floors too. Like a house isn't 14 foot. I mean, whatever 12-foot ceilings they had there,
and a cement or tile floor at the bottom of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he went ass over. He was looking at you, and then
he was in front of me, and I mean, obviously I was very drunk too, but I do remember him seeing him just roll down the stairs, just head over heels, and then landing kind of in the fetal position at the bottom of the stairs. That's when I stepped over his possibly dead body and said he's fine.
Man, you would have felt pretty bad.
I would have.
I mean, you would have recovered, but you would have felt pretty bad.
And then in January of this year, I had a job interview, kitty corner from Stub and Herbs. I'm sitting in this job interview, I look out the window, and there's Stub and Herbs right there, and that's all I can think about as I'm conducting this, as I'm going through this job interview. That was great.
Did you pause the interviewer and say, "Hold on, can I tell you a story?"
I thought about it. Well, because we were talking, because I was trying to figure out the geography, and I was thinking, is this a new building? Because I was thinking, wasn't like maybe because there was a second story, and then third story was the office, but first story was all commercial. So I was trying to think, was like the Big Ten on the first floor of this block, or was it a block down, or was Sally's a block down? I don't know. So we had a brief conversation about that.
Yeah.
They've ripped up half the crap there.
Yeah, Big Ten and the Walk were in the same block, and they ripped that all down and built up a bigger place now, so none of that stuff is there.
That's
I
why
also
you
remember that
shouldn't
night.
drink, kids.
Yeah, don't drink. I also remember that night somebody took a huge digger like in the middle of the crosswalk too.
That's is that when I called them safe? Like some stranger?
It wasn't me, was it?
No, it was some stranger. Yeah, they came like trying to get ahead of a car, and they just biffed it right into the curb. And I just went up right to their face and just yelled "safe" and like, did the hand symbol, like calling them safe at home plate. Yeah.
Didn't offer to pick them up or help them or nothing. Just
No, again, I mean, this has been a pattern of or a theme. Not the best people. Not very nice. And that was, I mean, I would just say that's changed hopefully a little bit since then, but certainly back then we were young and a bit of a narcissist, just worried about ourselves. Didn't worry about the guy taking a face, doing a face plant into the curb when we're 3 sheets to the wind. Did not hit my radar outside of going for a joke.
So Pete, you got any other good Stub and Herb stories?
No, I never went there. I was the guy that always went to grandma's.
You're strictly a grandma's guy?
90% of the time, yeah. They said that, I can't remember if I told this story on one of the earlier podcasts, but years later, so before they shut down, but this is probably like 2006 or something like that, so 4 or 5 years later, whatever, after I would have been going there. I went there with my brother, who's 7 feet tall, and his friend who's 6'7", and it was for Halloween, so we were all dressed up. I had like a Joe Dirt wig. My brother was shirtless and had like a Predator mask, and then his buddy was dressed up as Mike Myers. And you don't look at a guy that's built.
The killer or the international man of mystery?
The killer. Sorry, thank you.
Okay.
You don't look at a guy like my brother, like especially because he was just built right, huge and everything, and say, this guy is maybe 19. Like, you wouldn't just assume that based off the fact that he's so tall and, big and strong. And then there's like just stupid old me with a baby face back then. And the guy working the door, and it had been years, just looks at me, points me back towards the bar, says, "You can go." Doesn't take my ID or anything. And then my brother turns to walk. He's like, "Nope, ID." I'm like, what the hell is going on here? It's like, I was here enough where years later, this guy, even like a Joe Dirt wig and overalls and a Little River Band t-shirt, still is cool with me walking on by.
Well, just waved you in.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. He didn't ask me like where I'd been or anything like that, but obviously we must have had some sort of bond back in the day. But I basically lived for a year or two. Sally's was more for the I'll say that was a more upscale crowd, probably from grandma's. But
they didn't have the dance floor though, Peter.
They didn't, which is surprising that I didn't go there instead, because dancing has never been my thing. But yeah, that was my place in college. That and Legends back in the day, which was definitely more of a blue collar crowd.
When I first started 2001 with my current job, we were in an office building on Hennepin Avenue in North Minneapolis, and it was me, and it was all women in their 40s and 50s. And one day they invited me to go out to lunch with them to Legends, and I declined the invitation, but I just imagined walking in there and seeing Jeff Zamora sitting in the corner at noon on a Wednesday, or Tommy the waitress looking at me with all these 50-year-old women like, "What are you doing here?"
Oh, I forgot about Tommy. Yeah, that would have been hilarious. So where'd you go? I mean, obviously you must have gone out somewhat in lacrosse. Did you have did you go out a lot? Did you go out like we did?
Well, I didn't turn 21 till after my junior year, so it was pretty much just senior year I got to go out. And it was pretty much a cycle every Thursday night and Saturday night. But Friday night I was always at home reading, because my first semester of my senior year I was in 5 literature classes, so it was starting Friday morning through Monday night. I have to read 5 books and write 5 papers. So that was fun every weekend. So it was Thursday night. I'd go out to either the bodega or the casino, which was a really laid back retro 60s type dive. And then Saturday night it was again one of those 2, or maybe the Popcorn Tavern. They had live music there all the time. But yeah, otherwise I was literally for 4 straight days laying on the couch reading books for 4 straight months, which is great. But yeah, life of an English major.
We took different approaches to our collegiate studies. I was a history major, so I should have been reading, but I could skim and get by.
there were a few books where read it once, finish it, realize I have to talk about this in class tomorrow, start over from the beginning, start reading again because I have no idea what I just read. There were a few times that happened.
And Steve, what did you do? Because you lived at home all through college, still going to the U. What did you do? Like, I just don't know.
I had a job. I was working 4 or 5 days a week on top of school. So, I mean, I remember one quarter in particular where I was in 5 classes, and I think I broke it down. I was reading about 12 to 1,400 pages a week among all my classes, on top of working 30 to 40 hours a week and driving a few hours a day. And so, yeah, there wasn't a lot of time for fun.
Interesting.
I do remember was it junior year, getting a call in lacrosse from our mother saying, "Did you know that Steve moved out?"
That was sophomore year.
Sophomore year? Okay, so I had no idea. But then I must have had your email address because I sent you an email. And I guess because our oldest brother got married and he moved out, he was living with his friend, he moved out. So Steve took on his lease for like 4 months. But apparently when you moved out, you didn't tell our parents you were moving out.
No, I did tell them. I did tell them, and they did not like the idea. And I wasn't too concerned with them not liking the idea. So the next day, while they were at work, I just packed my stuff and left. And they knew what was going on, though, because I told them this is what I want to do. So they shouldn't have been that surprised.
It was only like 4 months, wasn't it?
It was about 6 months. It was January to June. So,
Okay.
you know.
Then you lived with, what, Carl or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
He didn't have cable, so that helped. So I didn't watch a lot of TV for those 6 months. I was doing a lot of reading then. So
when they called me, they gave me the impression they just came home from work one day and you were gone.
Well, then they weren't listening when I told them the day before what was going to happen. So not surprising that they were
I gave
listening.
them 1 day's notice.
Well, it was 5 miles away. It wasn't a big deal. They're just strange.
Well, you had more fortitude than I would. I don't think I could have. I had a hard enough time getting the energy to study a lot back then, but to work full time, or that much too, and actually do the homework you should have been doing is impressive. I don't think I would have made it.
Yeah, it seemed easier at the time. Now looking back, you kind of wonder how you did it, but at the time it wasn't so bad.
Well, and I suppose had I lived with my parents, it probably would have been a different thing.
Yeah, honestly, if I had gone to the U of M after about 2 weeks of freshman year, I couldn't have been friends with you guys. It would not have worked out. Just seeing how you lived. Sophomore year was probably worse because you were in the smoking dorm. But seeing how you guys lived, I could not have hung out. I could definitely not have lived with any of you guys. I could not. It would have been bad.
Sophomore year when Pete and Jeremy were living together in, was it Comstock?
Mm-hmm.
I would go to your room sometime. I'd have like an 8 o'clock class and I'd be done at 9 and I've had an hour break. I'd go to your room. I'd sit in your room and you guys would be sitting there sleeping. I would just hang out in your room for an hour and I'd play video games and stuff while you guys were sleeping, and okay, time for next class, and I'd leave. Thankfully, you guys never locked your doors or anything, but
Very trusting.
Well, who's going to want anything from our room?
that's true. I think I got a lot of cat hair on my backpack from Jeremy's couch that was covered with cat hair.
Probably.
Something's never changed.
I mean, honestly, like freshman year, because I know Schaff wasn't as big of a partier as you guys were. How did he tolerate living with you freshman year? Was there ever any drama, or do you not want to talk about this here?
So I didn't party
I
too
can't
much.
imagine.
I mean, you got to remember too. I went to the hospital freshman year.
But it's not even partying. It's staying up till
Just
2 in the
staying up
morning.
late?
Yeah, I was in bed by almost 11 o'clock, 6 nights a week, all through college.
Oh gosh, no! Like,
I don't know how you could stay up till 2 every day.
Yeah, I don't know. It was amazing because I would still wake up I had to stop taking like 8 a.m. labs, but in order to keep up that lifestyle. But yeah, I'd usually just take a nap. Sometimes I think I mentioned it one of the earlier podcasts. It's like there was one class, astronomy, that I always slept through one quarter because I would stay up till 6, stay up till 2 in the morning, wake up at 7, eat breakfast, go to my 8 o'clock lab, and then by 11 o'clock I was just done. I needed a nap, so I'd go to class and nap and go back and have lunch and get my second wind. I don't know. I'm trying to remember. Like, he wasn't there a lot. I think he started going to the frat every once in a while and staying there. But a lot of times we'd just go to the lounge too. We'd just like go watch TV or something in the lounge. Jeremy and I would till 1, 2 in the morning, and so we weren't disturbing him. And sophomore year, we just kept the same schedules. So it wasn't a big deal. Like we got smart. Nobody had a class before like 10 a.m. so we could stay up till 1 or 2 and still wake up on time for a class. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I wasn't probably ready for that sort of commitment and being on my own, but I survived ish.
Well, that story's already been told. We don't have to go through that again.
Yeah, I know.
So
I don't know.
We got about 10 minutes left before Zoom cuts us off once again.
Wow.
Jerk store.
We're going to have to find something else, obviously. But with the Viking season starting up, who is this year's Viking of the Year? Mr. Mankato. Who do you think?
Yeah, I just found out that the BB is still on the team.
Is he really?
He has. Well, I thought he was. Maybe he got caught on the last minute. I don't know. But he has high potential, assuming he's healthy.
You don't think BC's gonna dominate?
BC Johnson?
Yeah.
I honestly totally forgot he existed.
Well, he's
God,
probably
he's supposedly the number 2.
He's the number 2.
Really? I just assumed Jefferson was number 2.
He's more of a slot. I think they're going to put him in as a 3.
I was really surprised when they brought back Rudolph. I just assumed Irv Smith would be taking over that job. So I don't know if they're going to do a lot of 2 tight end sets this year or what, but I think Irv Smith has high potential for Viking of the Year.
Well,
also.
Given the lack of depth at the receiver, that might be their plan for sure. It's just going 2 tight ends, and plus their offensive line isn't the strongest, so having an extra tight end probably doesn't hurt either.
Yeah, and the guy they drafted, I assume he was going to be the left tackle of the future, but they've already said they moved him back to guard, which means
Cleveland?
which means they have no left tackle next year. I mean, even if they move, what's his name? O'Reilly? Is that his name? Riley?
Riley.
No, not Reef. The other guy. Who's the other tackle? Brian something?
Ryan O'Neal, yeah.
Brian
O'Neal. Yeah, not Riley.
O'Reilly, Neal, whatever. Even if they move him over, they have no right tackle then. So they assume they have to draft one next year. They're not going to have cap space to sign one. So they obviously haven't learned their offensive line lessons.
It does look like Chad Beebe is still on the roster.
Okay, so I say him or Smith. If the white guy or the other guy, depending on which way you're going to go.
Or Sean Mannion, just, with a bullet.
I've never heard of him either.
Amir Abdullah? Nobody?
I think
He's
if
still on the
Mannion
team?
factors in.
Yeah.
He is. He's made it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Why? I don't know. He's like our 5th running back.
Must do kick returns or something.
He does do kick returns too. I don't know if he does them well, but he does them. How about you, Steve?
I haven't put too much thought into this season. I don't know. I'm not real optimistic about it. I was thinking the other day that if something should happen to Cousins, and given his lack of concern over COVID, if he's not their starting quarterback at some point this season, I was wondering if the Vikings would take a run at Kaepernick.
Bring him back
They
after all
won't do
those
that.
years?
Well, he can't be much worse than who's our backup now? Mannion?
Did they draft somebody too?
They cut Staley unless they brought him back for the practice.
Oh,
squad.
did they? Okay.
Yeah, I think they put him on the practice squad.
I mean,
Is John David Booty still around?
The entire Zimmer era has just been, if the offensive line's good, the team's good. If the O-line has injuries, then the team sucks.
Yeah.
So it's all going to depend on the offense.
The good news is I don't have a lot of faith that the Packers are going to repeat their 13-3 season. I think they have too many holes.
My boss's daughter got an internship as a trainer with the Packers this preseason, and I guess they hired her on full time, so she's a trainer with them now for the entire season. And she was asked Aaron Rodgers last week for fantasy football advice, and all Aaron Rodgers said to her was Bears defense. And then I pointed out, my boss was telling me this story, and I pointed out to her that every prediction service says do not draft Aaron Rodgers, and apparently he didn't bring that up.
Nice.
And the same daughter of my boss also had COVID back in July, so I was telling my boss, please just get her to go cough near Aaron Rodgers. That would be great.
I'll give her $200 if she gets him sick.
Yes, that would
Cash.
be
Off
great.
the books.
Or if she could get him in some compromising photos, I'd be okay with that too.
I don't care. Yeah, I don't care how it happens.
Although he's single and she's overage, so I don't know how they would do that. She'd have to wear a mask or something. I don't know.
We're going to loop in Shimura somehow. He can help.
Is he still alive?
I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah,
we
it'll
got 5 minutes. Is there anything else on the list we need to discuss? Host?
Pete usually has a Ask Me Anything question at the end.
I do?
Yeah, you do.
All right. I want you both answers. Who's your? Which one of you is out of all the boys? Which one of you is are your parents' favorite? Do they have a favorite?
Oh, at this point, I don't think they have a favorite. They seem to go out of their way to avoid all of us.
There's no way they'll hear this, is it? Is there any chance?
Oh.
Facebook
No,
or something? Any chance? I don't know. I'm kind of worried to answer that question.
Why? It's a safe place here. You think it's you, huh?
I know. I assumed it was Dan because I know, Beth and my mom hang out probably. I don't know. I wouldn't say a lot, but at least they used to actually hang out, as opposed to either of our wives. And that's pretty much how it's all judged. Because when my parents communicate, it's an email to my wife. It's not any communication to me.
Yeah.
So I guess I would still say Dan's probably the favorite. Plus, he probably has the most money. And he's closest to them. So I'll say Dan. I hope I'm second. But who knows?
We reached out to them in like May, and they basically refused to get together. And I think Abby's communicated with them a few times since then, but I haven't, and I really have no desire to. So
what did they do to you?
It's hard to describe. They're strange folk. There's a reason I am the way I am.
You had to move out for college. It would have helped.
Yeah, in hindsight, I know I should have.
Oh man, I couldn't imagine what I would be like if I hadn't.
Well, pretty soon you're going to be living with your mom, so that'll be fun.
It'll be interesting. Yeah. We close Monday, so she won't move in right away. But her place is sold too, so she'll be moving in by mid-October at the latest. So we can. I wish if things were different, try to have a bunch of people over, do a house party thing. But maybe we can do something small if folks are inclined before Mom moves in, because we don't want to keep her awake.
Because that sports court's not going to keep her awake.
Yeah, right. She said she's just going to take out her hearing aids at night. I'm like, that works. All right. Do you guys have any questions for us? Any parting shots at Jeremy for not showing back up?
I kind of wish he was here. I think there's a lot of witless worm talk that needs to happen with him present, but he's not, here. We'll have to do a witless worm 10-year retrospective or something sometime, or however long it's been, 15 years, however long it's been.
When did live journals? That was a live journal thing, right?
Yeah,
it was pre-Facebook.
It's still up there. So don't worry.
Facebook
it's still out there.
Live Journal Witless Worm is out there?
No, just Live Journal. It still has all the posts that are out there, yeah.
Oh, shit.
Jeremy was saying he was looking at them not too long ago and reminiscing. So, yeah, we should definitely have that podcast. And we're going to be cut off any minute now. So,
all right. Well, thanks, gents. Good seeing your faces.
Yeah, this went fast.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Almost too fast.
Almost.
Almost.
That's what she said.
Right, see ya.
Okay, I look forward to listening to the edited version of this.
Yeah, it'll be about like 8 minutes, and 2 of it is Jeremy laughing.
You can just splice his laughter into the second half that he missed.
There we go. Yeah, just intersperse.
It's a good idea. That is a good
Yeah.
idea. I'm going to definitely try.
All right.
See you
Later,
guys.
gents.
Bye.
Bye.